Hello, everyone. I am Blayne Gilmer. Welcome into this Southeastern 14 SEC Morning Report. Today, it is all about the Arkansas Razorbacks, as we did not get to them in the morning report yesterday. And boy, did we hear about it in the comments, because quite honestly, I didn't spend a whole lot of time this past weekend poring over Arkansas versus Western Carolina. But we give the people what they want here, and this community has a lot of diehard Razorback fans in it. So I just said, hey, I didn't watch that game thoroughly. I didn't want to comment on it, just looking at a box score or highlights or stuff like that. So what I did was I went back last night and, watched the all 22 version of this, watched, okay, how is Arkansas different? What can we glean from this matchup against Western Carolina? And there were three things that really stood out to me in comparison. If you go back and just look at some of the games last year, whether it's the Kansas game or whether it's the Missouri game, just towards the end of the season last year, just to see, okay, how is Arkansas different than they were at the end of last year? Of course, we know that one main difference is that there was coordinator changes both sides of the ball. You have Travis Williams coming in from UCF to Arkansas on the defensive side, bringing the switch up from a three-man front, 3-2-6, 3-3-5, kind of hybrid type deal with Barry Odom there. A lot of, dropping out a lot of guys all over the place, trying to mix up zone coverages. They did create a lot of havoc. They did sack a lot of people last year in terms of, getting to the quarterback. But I think in terms of stopping the run, Arkansas and Sam Pittman knew, hey, you got to do two things to win in the SEC. You got to be able to run the football. Check. Arkansas can do that. They've got KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders, who obviously just those two alone are going to help you run the football. They have another host of really talented running backs as well that can contribute to it, whether it's Johnson or Dubinion, all those guys that are in there being able to run the football. Green, I mean, they have a stable of running backs that are very, very good. But they could not stop the run very well. So run the football and stop the run. Those are things that Arkansas didn't do great. They went and made the change after Barry Odom went and became the next head coach at UNLV. Travis Williams brings much more of a aggressive style of play. I just loved seeing that four-man front, seeing the secondary fly downhill and really make some big plays. I mean, the aggressiveness. Now, we do need to point out that Western Carolina is a FCS team that has won a total of 11 games over the last 3 seasons. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt here and there when you're watching this competition against the Catamounts of Western Carolina, okay? Totally overmatched. And Arkansas played in such a way that they should have against a team that was totally overmatched. They confused them. They were more physical than Western Carolina, and they made them turn the ball over because of their aggressive play. I think that four-man front and the different fits that it's going to provide. Listen, when you play defense, at the core of it, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take away gaps. And now you have another man up front that is going to help take away a gap. And yes, you're going to be left on an island a little bit more at times on the back end, but White McGlothern, those guys in the secondary, I think they are going to accept that challenge and they're going to embrace that challenge. And also, too, I just think the mentality that T. Will is going to bring on that side of the ball is going to pay benefits not only for Arkansas on the defensive side, but I think it'll pay benefits for them on the offensive side, because it's more of a style of defense that you see across not only the SEC, but across college football as a whole. And I think you can go more good on good in practice and get to, get a better look than you did with that 3-2-6, 3-3-5 kind of hodgepodge different deal that Barry Odom was doing. Listen, at times, like I said, it provided havoc and and confuse some teams, but it was not conducive to playing winning football in the SEC on a consistent basis. In my opinion, I think this 4-man front and the attacking style of defense that T. Williams is bringing over is going to provide that for Arkansas. So very impressed on the defensive side of the ball, impressed with how guys were running to the football. Of course, the turnovers that they created 5. Now, Western Carolina gifted some of those as well. So again, not just to totally go off the deep end of something, but there was a standard of competition that quite honestly was not met there, but Arkansas handled their business accordingly and was impressive in doing so. So the first thing is that 4-man front on defense with Travis Williams bringing that over. Now, on the other side of the ball, the other two things come as a byproduct of Dan Enos, in my opinion. The second thing was KJ Jefferson continues to show growth every time he goes out onto the football field. I think his footwork, his confidence, and his ball placement in this game were elite. There are times where KJ, because of injury or because of fatigue, things like that, has gotten a little bit lazy with footwork, and it's sometimes the pinpoint ball placement, not accuracy. KJ's always been an accurate guy in the high 60s, low 70s at times in completion percentage in different games. However, there are times where, because I don't know, like I said, if it's fatigue, I don't know, because he's been asked to run the ball a lot in his career, or injury stuff or stuff like that, footwork has suffered, and he's not put the ball in a position where guys can make plays after the catch. It's one thing to complete a pass and make it to where, okay, a guy catches the ball, but he's had to contort his body in a way where he catches it and that's it. But KJ in this game was putting the ball in places where his receivers could make plays after the catch, and also was putting it in tight windows as well. I think that is a great sign for Arkansas. The biggest play, I think, and the most encouraging play in this entire game, go look at 7:45 remaining in the third quarter. Now, we can't play it on here because we'll get it taken down, all that kind of stuff, demonetized, all that good stuff. But I'm going to tell you exactly where to go look. Okay, 7:45 remaining, third quarter. Arkansas has the ball on Western Carolina's 34-yard line. It's 3rd and 11. So Western Carolina, is going to do something funky, try to disrupt KJ Jefferson's rhythm. They decide to play a trap coverage. They take the defensive end or jack linebacker, stand-up defensive end, whatever you want to call him, to the boundary and drop him to the middle of the field, okay? So he gets across the hash and gets towards the middle of the field on 3rd and 11, and then the nickel back from the field side drops back inside the hash as well. So you have two defenders that are layered about 5 yards apart in depth and about 10 yards apart side to side horizontally. And what they decided to do, Arkansas, was they run a clear out. They run what appeared to be a clear out with Andrew Armstrong, but he's going to break it across the field at the sticks, and they have a curl route underneath it to try to hold the defender to the boundary. So Andrew Arkansas. They may call him Andrew Arkansas after this. I'm going to leave that in here. Andrew Armstrong breaks his dig route across, but here comes, as he comes across the field, here comes that weak side defensive end and jack linebacker dropping right underneath it. A quarterback of less experience, a quarterback with less touch, Joe Milton, may have thrown that ball, tried to throw it just like a bullet and put it in a place where, hey, that dropping defensive end jack on the weak side to the boundary may have just picked that thing off. But KJ layers that with such touch right over him and right inside of that nickel as well, and puts it in a place where only Andrew Armstrong can come down with that football. Man, it was impressive. And KJ Jefferson made several of those type throws in this game, but that one in particular was impressive. So I was impressed with the ball placement and just the poise and the command of KJ Jefferson. He continues to get better, and he's making a case to be, and I know I had him at third going into the year. He's making a case to be the best quarterback in the SEC. Now, he needs to do it once we get into that game 4. So enjoy these first 3. Make sure you stay crisp. Work anything out in that offense that you need to work out. Dan Enos and him work on some things like that before you have to go on the road to Baton Rouge in the 4th game of the season. Now, we know that looks a little bit different now because LSU got exposed a little bit up front. Can Arkansas use some of the stuff that Florida State put on film for everybody to see? Because my goodness, that is a big advantage for all these teams that are going into play LSU. Now they get to see kind of that game plan. And listen, they're 2 different quarterbacks in KJ Jefferson and Jordan Travis, but they're still both dynamic quarterbacks that can make plays. And it is going to be interesting to see, okay, what does Dan Enos glean from that game, and can Arkansas get off to that 4-0 start? I thought that, hey, going to Baton Rouge, that was going to be just kind of really tough game. But I also thought LSU's offensive line was going to be a whole lot better than they were in that Florida State game as well. So it works both ways. LSU, probably learned a lot from the Florida State game, and they're going to have an opportunity to get better. But, hey, come week 4, we're going to see which coaching staff is able to use things from that game that was played in Orlando between LSU and Florida State to really kind of help game plan and get some things going. Now, the third thing that I noticed, and it was also on that offensive side of the ball, I think under Dan Enos, you are going to see a more balanced distribution of the football to these wide receivers, something that under Kendall Briles, Arkansas did not have. It was, hey, we're going to feed the ball to either our one guy in Treylon Burks in 2021, or they're going to feed the ball to our 2 guys in Jaden Hazelwood and Matt Landers in 2022. And there was a just astronomical drop-off in the number of receptions from the 2nd receiver to the 3rd receiver in 2022, from Landers even to Trey Knox, who, RIP over there with South Carolina, with him transferring over there. They just totally laid an egg. I bet he wished he probably stayed in Fayetteville. And then in 2021, Treylon Burks, it was just Treylon Burks. And if he didn't get the ball, it was pretty much nobody else. I mean, Tyson Morris had, basically a third of the number of receptions as the number 2 receiver in that season. And I think what you're going to see in this year is you're going to see Jaden Wilson, Andrew Armstrong, Isaac Tesla, Luke Hayes, Isaiah Sategna, and then Tyrone Broden from Bowling Green, who's 6'7" and an absolute free. He didn't even really get much of a look in this game. He was on the field, but he didn't get a whole lot of the production that I think you can expect him to get later on in the season. But Tesla, man, looked impressive just in his frame. I mean, you're talking about some big receivers, 6'4", 215 pounds, a guy that was not afraid to go over the middle and catch the football in traffic. And then also when you're talking about Andrew Armstrong, he's a big guy as well, 6'4", 200 pounds. It's like these guys, hey, they came from smaller schools. They came in from places that you don't necessarily expect, hey, that's an eye-popping move. We need to bring these guys in. But, hey, they evaluated the film. They saw that Armstrong and Tesla are guys that are going to be able to help them. Of course, everybody knows what they have at the tight end position in Luke Hayes. I think he's only going to continue to get better. But I think the biggest and most impressive thing was, okay, you look on it, whether it was on special teams, specifically with Sategna, or you look at the little screen pass early on that Jaden Wilson caught and took 65 yards to the house. If they can have that complementary deal there of Armstrong and Tesla that are the big-bodied wide receivers, possession guys that can go over the middle, make contested catches, and then add that with Wilson and Sategna, who can make people miss in space, then you've got real balance across this wide receiver room, and something that Arkansas has not had in quite a while. They haven't had that kind of depth there. And I think the difference in Arkansas at the wide receiver room is these guys are hungry. They're not retreads from a Power 5 program, or they're not, a Traylon Burks who's just literally the best player on the field most of the time when he goes out there in a college football game. These guys are guys who they were told for a long while, hey, you're not good enough. You can't do this. You can't play at this level. And now they're getting this opportunity, and you could see when they had an opportunity to show off their skill set, even against a lesser opponent in Western Carolina, you saw that hunger come out. You saw the ability to, hey, I've got to provide a little bit extra for my team here, and they're only going to get more continuity with KJ Jefferson in these first couple of games. Listen, with Alabama still having to work through things, I know that they looked really good against Middle Tennessee State, especially in the second half, and that is what it is. And, you got Jalen Milroe there, who is a first-year starter for them. Listen, a dynamic player, but again, he's still seeing football. Okay. He's still trying to see looks and things like that people are going to throw at him. And then, of course, you got the young Connor Wigman at Texas A&M, who's doing some exciting things. LSU got exposed a little bit. This SEC West is something that Arkansas can be right in the thick of, especially if they get this balanced wide receiver play. And then also throw Luke Hayes in there at tight end as well. But balance across the wide receiver, tight end, pass catching production there is huge, because we know what they have in the run game. We know that they're able to turn around and give it to Rocket Sanders, give it to AJ Green, give it to Rashad Dominion, give it to Dominic Johnson. Oh, and by the way, KJ Jefferson keep it himself as well. I think what you're going to see is balance. Not necessarily run past balance. I'm talking about balance across the production for Arkansas, and that makes you more dangerous. It's not just, hey, let's take away Traylon Burks, or let's take away Matt Landers, let's take away Jaden Hazelwood. If you have 4, 5, 6 weapons that everybody's like, hey, this guy can hurt us at any time, it just makes you so much more difficult to defend. And I think Arkansas is going to have that this year. I'm looking forward to seeing them against Kent State. I'm looking forward to seeing them against BYU. And then they go on the road to Baton Rouge. And I think that's going to be your litmus test. That's always a tough environment. I think some of the sheen may be worn off of that just because of what LSU went through here over the last over the last weekend, getting their doors blown off late against Florida State. They're going to have another tough game because they have to go to Starkville before they play Arkansas. So, hey, anything can happen. And if Arkansas gets off to that 4-0 start, then they get Texas A&M coming to town. We'll see who is the most polished at quarterback, the most talented at wide receiver, because Texas A&M has something to say about that as well. And then, of course, Bobby Petrino will be returning to Fayetteville, so that will be interesting as well. We remember when he did that with Missouri State, he really kind of lit up that 3-2-6, 3-3-5 type defense that they were running under Barry Odom. Like I said, that defense is different now. I'm excited for these matchups. I'm excited for college football, excited to watch more Arkansas football. So hopefully this video, this morning report on Arkansas is a good olive branch to those people that I just didn't talk about them in the morning report, the recap from yesterday, and hope that you guys, if you like this content, that you will like, subscribe, turn on notifications. And tonight, Tuesday, September 5th, I hope you will tune in, as we're going to be doing a live prediction show for the big games this weekend. Of course, you've got Alabama hosting Texas. You've got Ole Miss going to Tulane. You've got Texas A&M going on the road to Miami. We're going to be doing all of those and plus a few more games live tonight. Okay, live tonight, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, right here. So like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll also touch on some of those other games as well. For daily SEC coverage, this is the place that you need to be. So like I said, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff is free, and it helps us a lot. For everyone at Southeastern 14, I am Blayne Gilmer. We'll catch you guys next time to talk more, not only Arkansas, but SEC football across the board right here on Southeastern 14.